What's up, family? Welcome back to another legendary reaction video. Shout out to Doug in Exile, as he does a great job in breaking down and relaying information that we take face value. And then I like to give my thoughts and my perspective, and then ask you guys down in the comments what's you guys' thoughts and perspective. So then it creates amazing dialogue, just creating a positive environment with peace, love, and positivity, where we can have a conversation, pour into each other, giving each other wisdom from the information we received, let alone inform each other with the right information, factual wise, and go from there, family. So with no further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Constitutional scholar John Eastman starts to spell out the way that the Supreme Court should take on the Alvin Bragg case against Trump and his potential being sent to prison. You're going to see the Republican Party articulate this more and more over time. But John Eastman, I've been following his career for 26 years. Okay. He's brilliant. He's good. We've been in
26 years, John Eastman.
Email contact before. He's one of the 18 co-defendants of Trump under Fani Willis, right? And he's been stripped of his law. You know, they're going after him every which way he can. But he knows he's argued before the Supreme Court. Very few people can actually say that. So John Eastman, listen up. He's going to unpack the importance and how this gets thrown up to the Supreme Court using fancy words. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Let's learn something together.
Of course.
The rule of law
is always about learning something together.
Fancy words. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Let's learn something together.
The rule of law has sustained this country for over 2 centuries, and we are at grave risk of losing it. And then people taking matters into their own hands. I think.
Okay, that's what's at stake, losing the rule of law and people starting to take things into their own hands. That is civilization over.
I urge Trump's legal team to file a writ of habeas corpus, original writ, with the Supreme Court of the United States. It's a rare move.
He is one of the advisors of Trump, the legal team. He talks to the legal team. They just chat. Writ of habeas corpus to the Supreme Court. That is, jump the appeals in New York, which many other people are saying you should go to the appeals court in Manhattan until they see that it's 5 black female judges and they go, you know what? Let's just go straight to the Supreme Court. File a writ of habeas corpus with the Supreme Court.
So basically he's saying, get ahead and file an appeal. File an appeal and hold up.
Let's just go straight to the Supreme Court. Female judges and they go, you know what? Let's just that it's 5 black in Manhattan until they see that it's 5 black female judges and they go, you know what? Let's just go straight to the Supreme Court.
So they're basically saying file an appeal in Manhattan, court, and then eventually the round of judges that they seem to be familiar with are just going to shoot it up to the Supreme Court because, they don't want to take on it. Maybe possibility with the possibility of the intense responsibility it would take on taking the case in regards of the appeals, if they take his course. Curious.
File a writ of habeas corpus with the Supreme Court. A rare move. Why would the Supreme Court take it, though? Here's his explanation.
But I think it needs to be done given these extraordinary circumstances before people start seeking remedies on their own.
And do you think that the Supreme Court will honor that and hear the petition?
They have to see what the rest of us have seen about how dangerous the left's lawfare has now become.
So I feel like he's basically saying it's a hit or miss, but it's better if you do the appeal and then you go through the legal system, because if you don't and, try to go for the goal of getting to the Supreme Court, eventually everyone in their own individual everyone in their own individual stance will basically see how they can be. They will all eventually everyone will be out wanting to do their own thing and seek their own incentives. So I feel like he's basically saying, like, look, it's a hit or miss. Filed an appeal with Manhattan Court. Hopefully, it's a hit or miss. We'll get to the Supreme Court. But if we don't do this, then it's going to be individuals that will be coming with their own motive to to benefit from getting their own selfish gain and seeking their own outright, they want to be incentivized. So they want to benefit and seek out. Individuals are going to come after them. I feel like he's trying to say, like, individuals are going to come after them for their own selfish gain, whether that's funds or whatever the case may be. That's just my opinion on what I'm taking from it, that to stop from individuals just coming attacking from every angle and they getting out of hand because individuals look at it like maybe a possible money grab or, some type of incentive they're seeking individually. Let's go through the whole legal system as a whole to debunk all the other nonsense.
Go watch the last video I posted on the backfire with Jack Smith, that the Supreme Court with Amy Coney Barrett is watching what happened, right? They're watching Trump being prosecuted using politics. And so they're aware this is happening right now. And that's going to end up backfiring on the Democrats because it's going to animate the Supreme Court to act
on it.
An emergency action is happening.
The emergency action. Now it makes sense why he said the legal advisor, the man, that was speaking. Let me put some respect on his name because we have manners around here, Dr. John Eastman. Basically, he said the rule of law, over civilization, as Doug said. So if politicalness is taking over the whole the rule of the land, which is the laws, and political power is starting to overtake the laws, then we have to come back to common ground and abide by law, not by political power or any type of biasness. I feel like they're trying to say. That's just my opinion. Comment down below what you guys get from that. Or do you guys get what I'm saying? Do you guys agree with what I'm saying and what I'm getting from it in regards of law is being overtaken by political power? Do you guys believe that? Comment down below.
This is happening right now. And that's going to end up backfiring on the Democrats because it's going to animate the Supreme Court to act. An emergency action has happened. Trump's been found guilty of a felony. They're going to throw him in prison. The Supreme Court is going to have to act.
I've been looking at the motions in limine in the case. I look forward to having the public release of the 55 pages of jury instructions so we can parse that and see what the judge actually directed.
Okay, do you guys believe that Judge Juan Merchan's 55 pages of instructions to the jury are going to be released to the public? Because I'd love to see that. I'd love to do a show on that. It'll really go to show his bias and his instructions.
I don't believe. Do you guys, family, that the 55 pages will be released? Or will they not be released due to it showing some type of favoritism, possibly? Possibly. Because we haven't seen.
To go to the public. But anyways, that will be part of the evidence given to the Supreme Court.
I see news accounts that he directed they didn't need to agree on what the crime was. If they all just thought he should be found guilty of something, that was sufficient.
Okay, that's basically the court of popular opinion. Dr. John Eastman is saying, if they just agreed that he did it, then he did it, but no process whatsoever of justifying it with actual factual information.
That doesn't meet due process by a long shot.
And so the Supreme Court's going to see it doesn't meet due process. I've already done a video on Judge Engeron saying that juries are overturned all the time. They're wrong about things all the time. So forget the jury system. The Supreme Court has to look at this because you don't have a rule of law if they don't look at it. And if they approve it, it's different. If Clarence Thomas looks at this and says, what happened to Trump in New York, I disagree with it, but it's legal. It's the way the Constitution imagined our legal system to go. I would have a lot more confidence if I heard that from him.
I don't know, family. Which way do you think it would go? Will things stay where they are? Will how everything panned out legally? or will there be a possibility of things being overturned? I'm curious to see you guys' opinion. Do you guys feel like things should be overturned? Do you feel like things were actually, processed correctly? And there was no bias taking place?
In the motions in limine, one of the issues that he allowed the prosecution to put in was that Michael Cohen had pled guilty to a federal campaign finance violation, even though there really is no federal campaign finance violation here. But the court refused to let Trump's team put in evidence, an expert opinion by a former head of the Federal Election Commission, that there is no such violation here. That seems rather significant and relevant to the case.
Yeah, this is, the gross negligence on Juan Merchan's part. Saying negligence is being kind to him, because it's nearly a conspiracy on what he did, who he allowed to speak, and who he constrained from speaking is telling.
He let one side,
Yes, I
lead
do
the jury.
agree. With the constraint, basically picking and choosing who they want to speak, who they want to allow to speak, and who they want to hear, rather than actually leveling the playing field and hear what everyone has to say, being fair. And I feel like Doug is basically saying that wasn't what took place, so it's exposing more of the truth on which side is being swayed towards.
There were violations, and the other side that could blow a hole through that not be allowed to testify. This trial was full of such contradictions and violations of due process that one hopes the Supreme Court will understand and take it up, and understand the risk of not taking it up.
Okay, so why not go to the appeals court in Manhattan and jump over them and go to the Supreme Court? Because he's saying, what's at risk if it doesn't happen? Is the Supreme Court aware of that? John Eastman says, yes, they're aware of it, of what's at risk. What's at risk? The end of American rule of law.
To let this play out with the leading candidate for president, who looks like he's guaranteed to win right now, being sent to jail, sent to prison during the height of the election season. I mean, if they don't see the danger.
I feel like that's where things is at a halt, right? You have an individual that's running for president. He's the leading candidate at this moment. And how things have been operated, in the process, from certain constraints taking place, certain individuals, like he mentioned, Dr. John Eastman mentioned, that there's been a lot of individuals going after the situation from their own angle and pick and choosing when they want to do it, how they want to do it. So it's from an angle of some people can do what they want to do and some people can't. And then let alone on top of it, the intenseness of this election, or the intense election taking place. How can there be common ground here where everything is fairly operated to then get the outcome on top of the heightened election taking its course, with candidates doing what they have to do in regards of campaigning and so forth?
That poses to our republic, then God help them and God help us. But I think they will see it.
He says he thinks they will see it. I believe they already have seen it. Chat, do you believe they see it?
Do you believe they seen it, family? Comment down below. I believe it's aware. I mean, how can you not be aware? And plus, on top of it, you have a leading candidate involved in it. Two individuals who are set to debate this month of June. I mean, it's the presidential election. You have two influential individuals in their own ways and have impact that may some feel like good impact, some feel like bad. We're not here to discuss that. But it's just saying that it's a heightened moment that's taking course between just two individuals. And it's like politicalness or political power has taken over rather than things that are actually need to be discussed and things that are need to be focused on, such as the rule of law, like Dr. Eastman mentioned. I feel like the rule of law has basically been not the focal point, it's been more individualized perspectives when it comes to the court of popular opinion. So comment down below how you feel, family. My question is there more the court of popular opinion going on or the rule of law occurring more so at this moment? I believe the court of popular opinion in regards, because there's really no policies and things that's being emphasized rather than legal proceedings more so. And on top of this election, because individuals need to figure out who they are going to choose that lobbies their interests in regards to their policies and systems, right? So,
is the Supreme Court paying attention to what Alvin Bragg and Juan
everyone's paying
Merchan
attention,
are
I feel,
doing to Trump,
for the most part.
finding him guilty of 34 counts? And it's right that John Eastman said it's Juan Merchan who directed the jury. He controlled the jury, constrained evidence. Remember, they were sequestered, so they don't get to go and watch TV like the rest of us. They're actually less informed than we are, people who watch this show, of counter evidence, of counter arguments. Is that fair? The Supreme Court's going to go, that's a madhouse. No, this is not what the rule of law, this is not what law intended. And we are the ultimate authority of the law in the United States of America. So John Eastman saying that Team Trump needs to go straight to the Supreme Court. I agree, given the timing of all these things.
Family, do you guys agree that strategic action should take place on behalf of the presidential candidate team?
And if this stuff is not fixed right now, and this genie not put back in that bottle, or that Pandora's box lid closed back up, we may never get another chance again to have fair and free elections, and therefore to have a government based on the consent of the governed. I mean, all of the marbles are at play right now. And if we don't get people willing to stand up, as I know you have been, and many of your guests have been, then we're going to lose something that we inherited from our forebears that was more precious than almost anything else. That's freedom.
I'm going to leave it there, because I believe my man is over here talking about basically having an organized process of voting where vocal points that are actually important are actually taking place, and also within the hiding way of getting closer towards the election, because time is going and days are going by, and it seems to be that political power in regards of political stance and personal opinions are taking over law. And that can be very misleading and can be very easily misconstrued. As you heard Doug Exile say, look, man, this can easily, be said that this wasn't the intent of law. So with that being said, I just feel as though there has to be, I feel like John Eastman is saying, we got to get some order here. And we got to go about this the right way and do the right thing in regards of how orderly things should be conducted when it comes to vote, election, and also emphasizing the thing that's important, so the voice of the people can actually focus on what's important here, and things are actually being focused on what's important in the whole objective of election period. And it's about basically voting for the individual that lobbies the interests, along with the policies and system that you believe is positively impactful for the nation and the country, moving in the right direction to uplift each other in unity, right? That's my perspective. But it's hard when the court of popular opinion opinion is taking place, constraints are being held in regards of what's said or not, and then individuals loosely saying things that are less informed on things can get a little bit dicey. That's my take on it. Family, do you believe there needs to be more order and Supreme Court needs to take responsibility of this case or this situation immediately, as soon as possible? And do you believe that the outcome is going to be where the Supreme Court says the intent of law, this wasn't the intent of which law was meant for it. This wasn't the intent surrounded around the rule of law to take place? Do you feel like they would say this was not the intent of law? This wasn't the action in regards of the intent of law to take place. So it wasn't. This wasn't supposed to occur. Basically, do you believe that the Supreme Court would say this won't occur and they'll take responsibility of taking over the situation as the, basically aligning and getting things back in order with the rule of law? Comment down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give this video a big thumbs up. Spread that peace, love, and positivity. Let the love supersede the hate. And until next time, family, peace.